riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me as always, co-host extraordinaire, yes please to my no thank you, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how the hell are you doing, buddy?
Well, Garrett, for the second week in a row, I am quite aroused.
Okay.
Sting and P.O.D, that's what gets my motor running these days.
That is perplexing. Sting less so, of course. I mean, I don't even know if I want to... I don't even know how to address this. Let me first ask Tim, what album have we been listening to this week?
Well, we have been listening to the one, the only, the P.O.D.-iest band there is, P.O.D, and their fourth Christian new metal album, Satellite, released September 11th, 2001, the same date as Jay-Z's The Blueprint, Bob Dylan's Love and Theft, Nickelback's Silver Side Up, Ben Folds' Rockin' the Suburbs, Slayer's God Hates Us All, and Mariah Carey's Glitter. So much good stuff was released that day. A lot of good albums.
Anything else you remember about that day?
Yeah. I mean, there was the horrible tragedy.
Oh, okay. Just making sure that hadn't slipped your mind. All right. Now let's get to what is now the most important question of the episode. Why has this aroused you?
Oh, I have no idea, Garrett. It's a physiologic response. It just happens.
Boy, yeah. I guess, you know what? None of us can apparently predict it.
Mariah Carey's Glitter does it for me too, though. I'll say that much.
Oh, yeah, that's understandable. Nothing weird about that. Tim, do you hate this album?
Oh, God, yes. This album sucks. Yeah. What about you, Gary? Do you hate this?
Well...
No.
Tim.
Garrett, it's not your fault. What are we doing?
Not applicable here. Not applicable here. Great start. Of course, I hate it, my friend. It is a real true return to form. We're going old school. This is like a season 1 classic. I truly cannot stand this Christian new metal. Dare I say it? This crew metal.
I guess. Is it Krinumu?
It's not Nishtin metal.
Krinumu. But there's reggae in there too, so it's like Krinumu gay.
Nailed it.
Okay.
Tim, is this the first time your pee has been OD'd?
Absolutely not, Garrett. Going into this week, I would have said I only knew Youth of a Nation from being in high school in 2001, but that's not true. I knew Set It Off, I knew Alive, I knew Youth of a Nation, I knew Boom, I may have known Satellite, and I may have secretly even to me, been a real P.O.D. head in 2001. I knew a lot of these songs.
Real Jekyll and Hyde situation, only problem is Jekyll's just going exclusively to P.O.D. concerts.
Absolutely. That does sound like me. I think I was unaware that this was a Krinumu band, though.
Yeah, that was news to me this week for sure.
Yeah. What about you? Is this the first time you've P.O.D'd?
Sadly, no. Very similar tale to yours. I would have said I knew Youth of a Nation, and sad to say, after a week of cramming this garbage into my head holes, I knew like 5 of these songs.
Yeah.
How?
And
I guess
like
we were
the
still
first 5 songs, right?
Yeah.
This thing drops off after about 5 songs and turns into stuff I have never heard. No one's ever heard before.
Absolutely not. But we're going to talk about it today, and my God, is it weird. So that's my history. That's your history. Before we can talk about the album at hand, we need to understand a little bit about the people who made it. So Tim, take us on a journey. Help us understand, who is P.O.D. and how did Satellite come to be?
Well, P.O.D. is, of course, short for Payable on Death, a Krinumu band from San Diego. The name P.O.D., Payable on Death, comes from a banking term, allegedly, that means when somebody passes away, their belongings go to their heir. Now, for the band, it refers to one's sins being paid for by the gift of eternal life with Jesus, our inheritance, yours and mine, of course. Since Jesus died on the cross, Garrett, you see, Christians' debt to God has been paid for. So for all believers, their acceptance presence of Jesus and his sacrifice for them on God's behalf. I don't know why God needed some sort of blood sacrifice. It seems like he could have just taken that requirement out because he can do everything. We have established that. But the point is that payable on death is eternal life that all Christians have, but no other religions and no one that does not believe exactly that.
I'm going to argue, Tim, that in the middle of this album, we go from a very strict Christian message to a befuddling Rastafari message.
That might be true, yes.
In any event, that is enlightening. So there's sort of a get out of jail free card. All Christians are allowed to wildly sin because Christ has already paid for their sins, and therefore they still get to go to the party upstairs?
As long as they're wearing the right shoes, yes.
Shoes aside.
It's a two-part system. One, you can do whatever you want. You can be a serial killer. As long as you accept that Jesus and wear those correct shoes, straight to heaven.
Wow, that seems like heaven.
You can be the best person on earth. Give all your money to poor people. You can dedicate your life to social change, whatever. You do good things. You don't believe in God, or you die in that shower shoeless, straight to hell.
I can't remember, Tim. Now, you've outlined for the listeners how important it is to have the proper shoe wear when meeting St. Peter at the gates of heaven. Should you not have shoes that are up to snuff? I forget. Are there other ways that you can still get in, or is it a hard no?
Hard no.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
So, I don't
but if you have them, especially if you have a good enough pair of shoes, it's a hard yes.
Oh, right. Okay, so Hitler, nice pair of wingtips. Get on in here, you rascal.
Absolutely.
That seems
And
wrong.
if I may quote from last Christmas, I will not allow this to be the podcast that implies that Hitler's in heaven.
Okay, so we have covered this before. I felt like it was familiar ground. All right. So, in the risk of quoting myself, that sounds like utter nonsense, and I will not be the podcast that admits that not admits.
Yes. Crisis actors.
No. Okay, no. Jesus Christ. We have to cut those words. Bleep them at least.
Absolutely not. The point is that all of that Christian theology that I just said is 100% true. Still a bad name for a band.
Oh, terrible name.
Yeah. Anywho, in 1991, Wov Bernardo and Marcos Curiel, they like to jam together. They call themselves Escachos, and then Wov's cousin, Sonny Sandoval's mother died of, I believe, leukemia. He converted to Christianity and was invited to join the band as a way to keep his mind straight.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, then they got Gabe Portillo and changed their name to P.O.D. They recorded a demo tape and pretty immediately replaced Portillo with a guy named Tra Daniels in 1994. Then
what's his name?
It's Traa. Tra.
Okay.
Wov's dad became their manager and created Rescue Records, essentially to release his son's music. And I tried briefly to figure out if Wov came from some like randomly rich family that could just afford to finance their terrible son's terrible music. But I gave up upon realizing that I don't care, and no one could possibly care.
That way.
It doesn't. But
I mean, I have a record label. Anyone can do it.
Well, sure.
Well, there you go.
They released Snuff the Punk in 94, Brown in 96, and P.O.D. Live in 97, all Noah Bernardo Sr. Rescue Records label releases. The dad then got Tim Cook to be their new manager, and Tim would later describe first seeing them as, I stood at the back of the venue with tears in my eyes. It was the greatest thing I have ever seen. This is not our best Tim.
Wow,
But
that guy sucks.
Well, hold on. For a person in the general population, still pretty great, but for a Tim, not that great.
No, this is a teary-eyed lover of P.O.D. Early P.O.D. Unpolished P.O.D.
Essential Records offered them a $100,000 recording contract, but Tim declined because, and I'm quoting here, God has a bigger plan for P.O.D. And that sounds like bullshit until 1998 when Atlantic Records signed them because God is real, but also hates us, or has terrible taste in music. I don't know which it is, Garrett, but either way, we're going to serve a colony of ants in the afterlife.
Well, that much is true, but I think by the end of this episode may very well know how God is using P.O.D. to help and or possibly hinder humanity.
True. In 1998, they released the Warriors EP on Atlantic, and that's named for their fans that are called Warriors. Terrifyingly. Seems like
Fittingly.
some sort of... Well, it depends. If they're a youth brigade, then...
Well, I think we're dealing with something much, much more sinister. I don't want to use the C word, but I get a real Crusades vibe from these guys.
Yes. Yeah, no, they are going to use swords in the Middle East. Allegedly. In 1999, they released The Fundamentals of Southtown, which featured the song Rock the Party Off the Hook. That was super popular on MTV's TRL. And then their song School of Hard Knocks was featured in Little Nicky, which is a movie that Garrett likes less than Billy Madison, but more than Happy Gilmore.
No, come on. Not more than Happy Gilmore.
Oh, sorry.
More than
I
Jack
got that
and Jill.
backward. Less than Happy Gilmore, more than Billy Madison.
Those are great movies.
You love Little Nicky is my point. Then on September 11th, 2001, perhaps sensing a change in the air, P.O.D. released their fourth studio album, the album of the week, Satellite. And at this point, the Encyclopedia of Contemporary Christian Music described P.O.D. as one of the biggest success stories in recent Christian music, and that's spot on.
Yeah.
It's 100% accurate.
I don't disagree. I'm more upset that publication exists.
Yeah, I mean, well, so here's the thing. If you'll take a look at my copy, you'll notice it is mostly handwritten.
Okay. Did you write this?
No.
You know what? This time I believe you. Oh, okay. Lied to again. Got me, you son of a bitch.
In 2003, one of their guitarists either left or was kicked out due to, I'm quoting here, spiritual differences. Then the band recorded a song for the Matrix Reloaded soundtrack, and they released a self-titled album, which featured a cover. It looks like a little fairy something with butterfly wings, and Christian bookstores thought it looked too occulty and would not stock it. Yes.
What is wrong with them?
In 2005, they released the Warriors EP Volume 2, then the album Testify in 2006, which featured some vocals from an unknown Katy Perry / Jean-Benet Ramsey. And a single from that album was the theme song for WWE's Survivor Series, which is a running theme on this show for some reason.
Odd, despite you and I having never seen any of these things.
Yeah, but we've had several people request wrestler albums. Macho Man Randy Savage has a full album, and we need to do that at some point.
I think that'll at least be fun. I think he's rapping.
He is.
I know Chris Jericho maybe has a band.
Didn't he kill his family?
No, that's a different guy.
I don't know that many wrestlers.
I
just
don't
know
either,
one of them
so
killed their family.
Don't quote me on that. Maybe it was him.
Oh.
One of them has a band, and one of them killed his entire family and then himself.
Oh,
Let's not use names.
In 2008, they released When Angels and Serpents Dance. Then on August 24th, 2011, longtime manager of the band, Tim Cook, was named CEO of Apple and left to pursue that opportunity. That was smart. I think he's worth like $1 billion now.
Hold on. That can't be right. It is not the same guy.
It's the same guy, Tim Apple, I believe he was called by our
as the
stupid
president refers to him. That's not the same guy.
It's the same guy.
No. Are you serious? I don't know with you anymore.
In 2012, they released Murdered Love. In 2014, they released an acoustic album. 2015, they released The Awakening. In 2018, they released Circles. Now, all of these albums do pretty goddamn poorly, as you'd expect. Meanwhile, Tim Cook has pledged to donate all of his stock to a charity when he dies, which is nice, but also not really charity because he's going to be dead.
I mean, it's still going to a charity.
Right, but it's not charitable on his part in any way.
Well, how can a ghost be charitable?
Oh, that's a good question. Anyway, that's the history of P.O.D.
Great history, Tim. Before we get into the music and general thoughts here, I do want to linger on the fact that this is Christian rock, nu metal, Christian nu metal.
Yeah, I did not realize just how Christian this was going to be. I thought this was going to be more in the creed realm where there's illusions. It has that like modern pastor uplifting message, and you could say like you could take this as Christian, but you could also take it as being about the Matrix or, you know, whatever. These guys take it to some really weird places in a lot of these songs.
Man, we go from, well, that's an odd thing to say, to just screaming Christ.
Yes, absolutely. A real problem I have is the direction that they take the Christianity on this album, because you could do a death metal thing where you're singing about Satan and the number of the beast and demon locusts and mouth-sorted Jesus quasi. You could be a Christian band and do all that, like just focus on revelation and be like a death metal band that just happens to be Christian, but instead they choose to do these songs that are essentially Everlast songs, these downtrodden stories with this twist that Jesus will one day save everybody from this garbage, which of course he can and certainly will, but it's just not interesting music.
No, what? Oh man.
Except Jesus Christ.
Right. No, that's obvious.
Yeah, okay.
I want to
agree.
applaud you, Tim, in getting this far into the episode without harping on the fact that this did come out on September 11th, 2001, a running theme on this show.
All albums we have discussed are either in reference to it, predicting it, or it came out that day.
Right. Allegedly?
No.
No, that's a fact. Okay. Gino, Gino says yes. Wow. He actually replied. It must be true.
He gave a thumbs up. I don't know that he understood what you were saying.
Okay. So this is Christian. It's new metal. It is... I'm trying not to get too much into the songs themselves yet, Tim. You said it yourself. The way at which they express their Christianity and faith is peculiar. It's off-putting. It's threatening at times, a lot of times, and it is bad.
Yeah.
This is Christian Biscuit.
Well, yeah, this is Limp Bizkit that you bought at a Christian bookstore in a suburban mall.
This is the biscuit your mom said is okay to listen to.
That
for
sounds
some
right.
reason.
Yeah.
Let's play a game, Tim. Better or worse? Limp Bizkit or P.O.D.?
I think P.O.D. is better. I would rather do an episode on a Limp Bizkit album. Well, I don't know.
I disagree. I think Limp Bizkit's better. I don't know which one I'd rather do an episode on. Okay, what about this? P.O.D. v. Papa Roach.
Think Papa Roach might be better, but I would rather do an episode on P.O.D.
That is the right answer. You mentioned it. This thing is rife with religiosity to the point of just being obnoxious and weird.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable because it veers away from it and you're just like, oh, this is just a song that is not overtly Christian, and then it's just screamingly Christian.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I had to get out the old family Bible, and by that I mean your Bible this week.
I consider us a family.
I know you do. I don't. I'm sorry. I tried for the show, but I do not. Anyway, the length. It's what, 55-ish minutes? Somewhere in there?
Something like that.
But 15 tracks?
Yeah. There's a deluxe edition with 26 tracks.
I would rather slam my hand, my writing hand, the hand I am dexterous with, in a car door.
Your masturbatory hand is what you're implying.
Well, so much for implying.
You're implying it. I'm saying it. That's what you're talking about for our less astute listeners. You would rather masturbate with a cast on your hand than continue. It's real
Tim.
rough.
No, Tim. What I'm saying is I would rather masturbate with my left hand than have to listen to 26 tracks of P.O.D.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Garrett, this is their album, though, right? Like they have, I didn't count how many albums they have, but it's a lot. It's like 15 albums.
That's too many.
4 of their 5 most played songs are the first 4 songs on this album.
Of course. Got to keep them in the seats.
Well, right, but I'm saying this is the good one. So like everything else is worse than this.
I believe that. Having never heard any of their other music, it's hard to know if this is an aberration. I would imagine that most of their albums all sound like this. It's just a matter of timing. People were coming off that biscuit.
When I was reading through the history, a lot of people were saying some of their later albums, they drop sort of the new metal. There's more singing. There's more Latin influences on some of them. So I don't know. I think this is a band of guys that like to play music together. And the album that hit happened to be in this new metal period.
Style,
and so like that's just what they're known for. But the music they're writing today, I don't think it sounds necessarily like this.
I wouldn't say that more singing was the solution for this band.
I don't know what the solution is. I think dissolution. That's where you go with.
Yeah. Disband. Go get a gosh darn 2-year associates and maybe get a secure job at H&R Block.
You know, I noticed you said gosh darn, Garrett, and now all I can think of is honking down the gosh darn highway.
I've asked you to stop bringing that up.
You brought it up with your gosh darning.
I can gosh darn as much as I want to. Mike Love doesn't own that fucking word.
Honking down the gosh darn highway. God, I love that album. Really wish
I know,
we'd be
man.
listening
Guess
to that
what?
album.
When we're not on mics, you do it all day. You hum it, you sing other words to it. Taking out the garbage to the curb. All the things you do are to that fucking tune. All right, let's get into these songs. I don't think we can accurately discuss our thoughts about the band without getting into their words. So, track number 1, Set It Off. I can tell you why you know this song, Tim. Because it was featured on the soundtrack to your third favorite Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie, The Scorpion King.
Well, that's my second favorite.
Oh. Care to share what number 1 is?
Fast Five.
Wow, specifically the 5th one.
Yeah.
Would you care to tell us what your 8th favorite Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie is?
Fast Seven, as I call it.
Is that why you're always talking so much about family?
No, that's a different thing. I want us to be a family.
Sorry, I asked.
Anyway, this is nu metal in a nutshell. You've got the nu metal buzzsaw guitars, the prominent deep bass, those very specific nu metal drums. There's screaming, there's rapping, and god damn it, Garrett, there's fucked me whisper singing.
Dude, you've hit all of it stylistically, Tim. I love it. You brought us right to the curb of the lyrics. So let's get into some of my favorites. And folks, 15 goddamn tracks. I don't know about you, Tim. I want to really encourage you. Sometimes here on the show, we like to enact just a hardcore, you know what? Let's be done with this song. So Tim, if you feel it brewing down below and you want it to come burbling out, don't fight it. You just let me know. Fucking next song. Because this is a lot
fucking
of the
next
same.
song.
No, Tim, I knew giving you this power, I would immediately regret it.
Sorry.
Fight that urge.
Okay.
F that
Well,
you.
yeah.
Okay. Our time has come. Watch me set it off. It's been a while, but we're back. So you can count it loss. We lie, wait, don't hesitate. When opportunity knocks, break the locks and rush the gates. Seize the day. We got moves to make. Okay. So this is, of course, just singing about taking the opportunity to become a hit garbage band.
Yeah, I think this is the same thing as that Eminem song, except bad.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's a motivational poster kind of stuff here.
Sure. And if they're super sweet, then you gotta know that the haters are all bullshit. Because they go on, all bark and no bite, talking all hype. I hang with the illest you don't recognize, desensitize and paralyze, sabotage headquarters, but your bloodlines we sterilize. Talking about how all the other crews aren't nearly as ill as who he hangs with, and that's pretty standard for shit here on this show. But, Tim, I want to point to a specific line that troubled me.
Is it the war crime?
The bloodlines that we sterilize? Yeah. So what do you think he means by that?
Genocide. I think he's talking about killing the other bands and their entire families such that their entire family line is wiped out.
That's a hard genocide, Tim. What if it's more of a soft genocide?
I mean, I would think I would prefer a soft genocide, but I would also prefer not having to say I prefer any sort of genocide. So why don't you talk for a while?
Great. And of course, by soft genocide, what I mean there is just a forced sterilization. A specific people slowly dies out.
Well, I don't think that's great either. I don't know that he's going to be able to enforce that on, let's say, Creed and Linkin Park, though.
Well, sure, today. But as we're going to see across the course of this album, I think there might be a plan for larger moves.
Oh, yeah. No, they're attempting to take over some stuff.
Instead of forced sterilization, what if you incentivize it?
Oh, I think that's completely okay.
Yeah, so if it's optional and you give something, obviously, your ability to procreate, but you get something in return, what would it take, Tim?
Free Burger King for a year?
That is too low. You've aimed too low. You cannot give up your seed. Okay, you know what? I'm going to take Burger King completely off the table. I'm going to need you to do better.
But like anything I want, I wouldn't spend money on food for a full 2 years.
On what free means.
Well, no, but I'm saying I would eat nothing but Burger King. How about this? And I want a king costume. And you have to address me as the king for that full year. And I wear that king costume at Burger King and actually everywhere for 1 to 2 years, depending on how well my negotiating skills are.
Okay, well, I will applaud the fact that now you have introduced some sort of angle where I'm subservient to you, if only in words. So congratulations. That is a bargaining chip, because you better believe that will never happen in real life.
How about this? Okay, I get nothing, but you have to eat Burger King for 2 years.
Oh, God. All right, folks, you heard it. If you will pay for me to eat Burger King for an entire year, Tim will be chemically castrated.
Right, but you have to. Nothing else. If I see you eating a banana, deal's off.
I don't know if it works that way.
It does.
I don't know if you can reverse it.
No, I get it done at the end after you've completed your thing.
Yeah, then we just take a buzzsaw out of that vase.
I don't know if they're going to do it with some sort of buzzsaw. What about you, Gary? How do we end the Harvey line?
I don't know, Tim. I really enjoy my virality.
I mean, me too. I like knowing about it.
Okay. Yeah, I would be a little concerned to give up my maleness. Like a girl. To quote Lou Reed.
Yeah, to be clear.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it like that. What would I give up? Outside of money? Ooh. Can we do a gift card? I guess you basically did a gift card. You did a bottomless Burger King gift card.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know what? Maybe like you have to get like a real businessy job. And I get to go to work with you every day and watch that happen.
Oh.
Yep.
I don't think I want this.
Yeah, you have to wear a suit every day. And of course, I mean, you're going to have to start at the bottom. You have no experience in such a position. So yeah, not the mailroom. Like I want you in meetings, probably just the note jockey. You're not a secretary.
I'll agree to this if I get to be the one that destroys your testicles.
Okay, well, that's certainly not going to be the case.
Oh.
Destroys.
Yeah.
Destroys.
Or disconnects. I don't know. Whichever.
Oh, God. Anyway, we've got to move on. The song continues with the pre-chorus. Here we come. Chat down dem Babylon. The wicked man, when he sees me, I'm a run. Me understand why dem cowards don't want none. Underground blaze, the sound of Armageddon. Our time has come. And Tim, I'm hoping you heard the Armageddon.
I did. Garrett, this is an early warning sign that I completely missed the first time I listened to it. But a really astute listener will know, nope, I'm not listening to another song on this album because this is going to delve into reggae.
Yeah, and not just reggae, the Rastafarian religion.
Yes.
As I understand it.
Garrett, we're going to get into just shy of ska on this fucking thing.
Oh, God. Ska metal? Ska new metal? Skew metal?
We got to throw some Christian in there. So, Chris Ska new man. No. I need to write it down and sound it out. I can't just do it in my head.
We'll wait for you to do that later. Song continues.
Rise! Sorry.
No, I'm very glad you brought that up, Tim. So let's get to that. Set it off. Rise. Let your spirit fly. Rise. Stand up for yourself.
Rise!
Hold your head up high. Our time has come.
Well, let me do the Our time has come line reading for you. Our time has come. Fucked me.
I am almost certain he does not say fucked me.
On at least one of the times. He does the chorus a couple of times. You don't know.
Sure. Okay. He's talking about being an underground blaze, the sound of Armageddon, or Armageddon if you're listening to the song. But he's setting something off. He's letting spirits fly, standing up for yourself, hold your head high. Our time has come. Tim, I think this chorus is about some sort of ascension. Are we dealing with revelation here?
I think so. I think that he's describing the thing that NSYNC was avoiding, right?
Oh, continue.
NSYNC is taking a spaceship to get away from Armageddon, whereas P.O.D. is facing it head on.
Yeah, going face first into the beast.
Yeah, they're going to line up shoulder to shoulder with a sword-mouthed Christ and fight demon locusts with scorpion tails and horse bodies.
Horse bodies?
I think so.
Scorpion tails and horse bodies.
I was reading it in the original Greek, so I don't know.
Tim, I got a DM on the Twitter. I don't know if you saw it, from a furious reverse centaur. Apparently we said some pretty offensive stuff on a previous episode. Who could know? Because I do not cotton to those horse-headed man jockeys. They can just suck it, Tim, as far as I'm concerned. How dare you threaten me over DMs? But apparently we said some truly hurtful things to the reverse centaur community, and I don't feel the least bit bad about it. They're abominations of God.
What if a reverse centaur was just a horse, but its front legs were people arms and its back legs were people legs?
on a horse body?
Yes.
Well, that would be the worst horse ever.
I know. That's what I'm saying. These reverse centaurs. Garbage.
Well, no, a reverse centaur, Tim, is a horse head and neck on a human body.
See, that seems just as top heavy as what I'm describing.
Oh, it's incredibly top heavy. You see them often carting it around in a wheelbarrow. Or they have to wear those halo things for people that have severe spinal injuries just to keep that thing from toppling over. It's basically BoJack Horseman. That's what we're describing, I think.
Yeah, so funny.
Well,
I like that.
Yeah, okay. The song's almost over, but I want to point out that all of a sudden he starts saying, overpower the strong tower, infiltrate top ranks, count down the final hour. Don't know exactly what we're counting down to, have no idea what the strong tower is, but we do know that we are in a battle situation before he begins screaming again to let your spirit fly, and that we made it this far. Don't you quit, don't you quit, don't you quit on me.
Let me explain, Garrett. The tower is, of course, the Tower of Babel, which will be rebuilt in the last days, and it will be destroyed, signaling the beginning of Armageddon, at which point the Antichrist will reveal himself. Obviously, he's the opposite of the Christ, so instead of having a sword come out of his mouth, a sword will go into his mouth.
Right. No, we all know where it goes from there once the sword is in the Antichrist's mouth. Before we move on to song 2, I'm curious, do you have any hot takes on who may or may not be the Antichrist?
Current day?
Yep.
Oh, I'm not.
And it's always the last person you suspect. So, folks, Tim, I challenge you to really think who might be hiding under an incredibly pleasant facade.
Beck. It's Beck.
No, don't say that.
It's always who you least suspect.
Sure. Could be Kristen Schaal if that's the case. She seems very pleasant.
Oh.
I know, right? Anybody could be the Antichrist. Listeners, write in hatePodMail@gmail.com. Who do you think might secretly be the Antichrist?
Antichrist. Write in. Let us know who you are.
Ooh, yeah, promise we won't tell.
Track number 2, Alive. The worst Pearl Jam cover you've ever heard.
I just want to point out this was released on July 4th as the lead single, which is not that important, but it is just kind of strange. The single came out on July 4th, and then this album came out on September 11th. I don't want to cast aspersions, but...
Crisis actors, yeah.
Loose change.
I really dislike this faux uplifting bullshit. This every day is a new day. I'm thankful for every breath I take. I won't take it for granted. I learn from my mistakes. It's beyond my control. Sometimes it's best to let go. Whatever happens in this lifetime, so I trust in love. This is the douchebag trying to get laid. Like, you'd hear this in like a freshman dorm from that one hippie kid that just won't admit that it's about having sex with somebody. Like, that's all it is.
Oh yeah. I just really like to get to know people. Unless you want to fuck now.
Right.
In which case, let's do that.
And we could tell me something you're thankful for.
Yeah. I just start every morning with a gratitude mantra, and then I journal. I like to journal for a good 20 to 30 minutes and, just get my thoughts down, plan out my day, just a moment with myself. I want to listen to myself. Is any of this making you wet?
Gross. After dark.
I apologize.
I will say, though, I do like to journal in the morning, but I've read back on it, and it's dark. It's not as uplifting as I originally assumed it would be.
No, so much of it is,
it's mostly drawings of Jesus with a sword coming out of his mouth.
Yeah. Now, Tim, I want to say, and I don't love giving you compliments, but over the last 7 or 8 months, those besorted Jesus-y, you're getting better. Your proportions were crazy to begin with, but starting to really look like a man with a sword.
I don't know what Jesus looked like. Maybe his body was way too big for his head. Who knows?
Yeah, he is some sort of son of God. Well, he's nothing. It's this goddamn fable, but...
No, hold on just a second. I don't think... If you're taking that attitude going in, you're not giving P.O.D. a fair shake.
No, I'm not.
Oh. I mean, this song is presumably about how much they love Jesus.
Yeah, he's high on Christ.
Okay. Yes. I feel so alive for the very first time. I can't deny you. Now that I know you, I could never turn my back away. Now that I see you, I could never look away. I believe no matter what they say. And then they address what so few pastors and priests will just say up front. Jesus will allow you. If you believe hard enough in Jesus, he will allow you to both figuratively and literally fly.
I'm sorry, what?
I feel so alive for the very first time, and I think I can fly.
Right. Jesus can make you fly?
Absolutely.
Well, after you're dead.
After or before. He's Jesus. He can do whatever he wants.
Tim, have you met Jesus?
Oh, no.
Okay, just making sure. Otherwise, we had to stop right now.
Different podcast.
No, you would be getting 5150'd, buddy.
Yeah. And then we'll podcast that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Listen, if I get 5150'd, we're moving those couch beds into a Psych ER, and we're living in there for a couple of days. 72 hours worth of days, however many that would be.
It's going to be weird when I begin shouting in a high-pitched squeal, I go where he goes, until they let me room with you.
Yeah, you'll definitely be able to at least come into the Psych ER. I don't know if they'll let us room together.
Probably not. The song continues. You know what? I don't know. I don't think he says much else than this. He's high on Christ, and he doesn't give a gosh darn hoot.
God damn it. Honking down the gosh darn highway. Okay, all right. I got it up.
Did you?
No.
Anyway, so he's saying he's high on Christ, doesn't give a shit who knows it. You can make fun of him. You can mock him. He doesn't care. He's grateful for every day.
Yep.
Track number 3. Boom.
I feel like they start out and they attempt to do an at the beginning of this.
But it's far worse.
Hoochia.
That's what he says. Hoochia. I was super fucking concerned when we got to song number 3, and I was like, okay, I'm 3 for 3. Do I love P.O.D?
Yeah, me too. I didn't realize the many, many times I've apparently heard this song that it immediately devolves into Listing Places, that old show favorite.
Absolutely. Did you note, Tim, that this song was on the banned list?
Yeah, the Clear Channel thing.
Yeah, the inappropriate for 2001 Clear Channel memorandum. You know, I feel like this is a stretch. Maybe don't play it like the week of, but, you know, that went on for months. I feel like most people who hear P.O.D. aren't like, oh, like the buildings.
Yeah, well, I mean, they banned the Beatles' Ticket to Ride, presumably because you need a ticket to get on an airplane. A Sugar Ray's Fly. All Rage Against the Machine songs.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Now, to say that you can't play the song Boom kind of implies that P.O.D. may or may not have had something to do with the events of 9/11.
I don't think it does. I'm just going to say that before we go down this road, it doesn't.
Well, then why else would you need to ban it?
Moral panic.
Okay, we'll chalk it up to moral panic again.
Anyway, so they list places. I never knew that a kid like me could take his mic around the world and flash the big SD and rock the masses from Madrid to Calabasas, Tijuana, Mexico, bootleg demos in Tokyo.
What's the big SD?
San Diego.
Great. Nobody calls it that.
Oh, yeah, I think so. It's like the Big Apple, but they didn't have a fruit because, West Coast.
Sure. Thanks for that fruit history lesson. I think that he's talking about preaching the word and gathering followers for his rapture army.
Well, this is really 2 songs crammed together. Half of this is talking about how P.O.D. is going straight to the top of this new order, I guess. And then,
yeah, okay. I'm glad you put it that way, Tim, because the very next line is, I'm sure you heard about the new sound going round. She might have left my hood, but she was born in my town. He is basically saying he was raised in the new metal and that others merely adopted it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he's saying, Garrett. Because he goes on, me and my crew, we stay true, old school or new. Many were called, but the chosen are few. We are few. We rise to the top. What do you want? Just in case you forgot. Rush the stage, grab my mic, show me what you got.
So is this his band or is this an army of followers?
Well, I think one leads into the other.
Okay.
And might go back and forth, right? You get that army of followers, you use the music to turn them into an army, and then also you have your army come see you play and get all that ticket money.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
It's like what the Grateful Dead did.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much took us to the end of the song, Tim. All that you really get after that is the line, is that all you got? Ah, ha, ha, I'll take your best shot. 6 or 7 times in a row?
Something like that. And then, of course, the boom, here comes the boom, ready or not, boom, how do you like me now?
Right. That every time I heard that part, I don't even know if it's in there because I never saw it, but remember that terrible Kevin James movie, Here Comes the Boom?
No.
Great. Track number 4, Youth of the Nation.
if you know a P.O.D. song, it's probably this song.
Yeah, but you probably know a lot of P.O.D. songs.
Yeah, everyone does. I hate that I'm able to make this comparison, but the intro to this song sounds a lot like that Limp Bizkit Mission Impossible song.
Okay, I was curious if that was just me, because at first I was like, this reminds me of a Limp Bizkit song. So I went back and I started listening to Limp Bizkit to figure out which one it was. And then I was super confused when it was the Mission Impossible song, because that song opens with the Mission Impossible song. So this basically just sounds like the Mission Impossible song.
Yeah.
Down-tuned guitar.
Yeah, the Wes Borland
of it all.
Yeah. This song is probably the best example of just that sad sack Everlast type lyrics.
Yeah, this is Everlast, What It's Like, or I'll even give you an alternative, Eels, Susan's House.
Sure, but P.O.D. does not seem to be able to set a scene or tell a story as well as Mr. Last or Eels.
That's very true. E does a much better job. It's funny you point that out, Tim, because that, aside from the fact that, and I don't know, at the risk of being redundant, Tim and I are largely glossing over the fact that this is just, for now, aggressive nu metal. Exactly what you'd expect when you hear the words nu metal. So we're not going to keep saying that. These guys are rip, rap, rippity doing all over the place. And it's bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the song itself. One of my biggest complaints here, the storytelling in here sucks.
Yep.
It's all over the map. First I was like, it's about a school shooter. Oh no, it's about a promiscuous girl. Oh no, it's back to another guy that may or may not have been that first shooter. I'm not sure.
It's about a promiscuous 12-year-old girl. Just throwing it out
at times.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if the third person was the person that shot the first person. It's unclear.
Yeah, because
let's get into it.
Yes, let's. Last day of the rest of my life. I wish I would have known because I didn't kiss my mama goodbye. I didn't tell her that I loved her, how much I cared, or thank my pops for all the talks and all the wisdom he shared. Foreshadowing, and seemingly he grew up in a lovely home.
Yep.
But who knew that this day wasn't like the rest? Instead of taking a test, I took 2 to the chest. Call me blind, but I didn't see it coming. Everybody was running, but I couldn't hear nothing except gun blasts. It happened so fast. I didn't really know this kid, though I sit by him in class. Classic school shooting, which, I've heard this song 20 bajillion times, apparently. Had no idea this was about a school shooting.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Now, listeners are probably a little confused, Tim. This is a 20-year-old song. Let me help you guys understand. A song in 2001 about a school shooting was a kind of a big deal because, and this is going to be hard to believe, in 2001, school shootings would happen like once every, year, maybe every 3-4 years. It was a really big deal because a child was brought to the brink of murder and killed his fellow children. Country mourned, everything stopped, and we took a moment to reflect upon ourselves as a country. Now, of course, modern day, it happens every single day to the point that it barely even makes the local news, or possibly even the school newspaper where it happened. But we live in a hellscape. So probably I just want to catch up the younger listeners, Tim. They probably don't recognize a country in which this was, uncommon or a big deal.
Definitely. The band's explanation for this song, they said that they were writing the record Satellite and they were 2 blocks away from a high school shooting. They were taking a break, went out for coffee, and they saw, police in helicopters, turned on the TV and saw a kid that had trapped everyone inside and was shooting. And they said, all this is going down and here we are just supposed to write music. And we had an awesome underground following, even of kids in Colorado. So when we toured Colorado, some of the kids that survived the Columbine shootings put on a fundraiser. So we've always been kind of involved in that. We're hanging out with young kids, we're talking with kids. And that was one of the things that was going on when we were touring so many years ago. It's always been something that's been on our shoulders. And when this happens, it was like, wow, what's going on with these kids? It was just like, here it is. These are the youth of the nation. This song, Garrett, is the oral equivalent of a teacher turning his chair backward to have like a rap session and get real.
Yes, turn that hat around, sit in the chair inappropriately, and just let them know you're there to rap.
Yep.
You're just like them. You're hip. You're with it.
So verse 2, it gets real judgmental and it draws a comparison that I don't necessarily think the band was trying to draw, but nevertheless, by including this at all, it's there. Little Susie, she was only 12. She was given the world with every chance to excel, hang with the boys and hear the stories they tell. She might act kind of proud, but no respect for herself. She finds love in all the wrong places, the same situations, just different faces. Changed up her pace since her daddy left her. Too bad he never told her she deserved much better. Now, she was only 12 parts. I think that's almost ancillary to this.
Yeah, it was for rhyming.
Okay, so we'll ignore that. It makes it definitely worse that it's in here, but the rest of this verse is just about how this girl's kind of a whore. I mean...
Yeah, well, she's, seeking validation through acceptance of boys.
Right, and the juxtaposition of this is as bad as committing suicide or being a school shooter. You've got suicide, you've got shooting a bunch of people in schools.
Wait, where was the suicide?
The third character may have just commit suicide.
Oh, okay. Well, don't spoiler alert.
Yeah, but the point is that the way this is placed in this song, it implies that being kind of slutty, their words, is, as bad as being a school shooter or killing yourself.
Well, I'm not sure about this killing yourself part, but certainly I understand what you mean about the school shooter thing.
Yeah, right. So, sorry. P.O.D. and Garrett are saying.
Wait, no, I'm not. No. That's not what I mean. I'm agreeing with you, not them, you fuck.
Oh, okay.
God damn it, Tim. I try so fucking hard to put up with your Christian nonsense and your cowboy bullshit without just striking you and turning this into an all-out brawl. We have deadlines to meet, investors that depend on us. But come on, man. I just want to slap that face.
Johnny Boy always played the fool. He broke all the rules so you would think that he was cool. He was never one of the guys, no matter how hard he tried, often thought of suicide. It's kind of hard when you ain't got no friends. He'd put his life to an end. They might remember him then. You crossed the line and there's no turning back. Told the world how he felt with the sound of a gat.
Okay, he is a different guy.
Okay, so two possibilities here. One, this could be the school shooter. It might be like a...
school rampage often ends with a suicide kicker.
Yes, and that would make, I think, some sense if it was the guy, the guy that killed the person in the first verse.
Sure.
And Garrett, I'm no dummy. You know that about me.
Sure, no dummy.
I know the word gat is being used in the kind of the urban patois, right? It's a colloquialism for just gun. Any gun.
Yep, so far we're on the same page.
I know they don't literally mean Gatling gun.
Correct.
However, every time I heard this, because he says he thought of suicide, he put his life to an end, told the world how he felt with the sound of a gat, I just could not help but think of somebody killing themselves with a Gatling gun.
How would that even work?
You shoot yourself in the head 650 times, I think is what...
Yeah, but I think you need to get it like you got to hold the trigger for a bit, although I guess it would keep spinning for a while, because it spins first and then the bullets come.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And if anyone's confused, watch Terminator 2, the giant gun that Schwarzenegger has where it rotates and all the bullets come when they go to storm.
Yeah, the multi-barreled gun so that they don't get too hot, so it can shoot, several hundred bullets a minute.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Also, just watch Terminator 2. I rewatched it the other day. It's great. Anyway, he gets a little philosophical at the end of the song, Tim, after all that gat talk. Who's to blame for the lives these tragedies claim? No matter what you say, it don't take the pain away. That I feel inside, I'm tired of all these lies. Don't nobody know why. It's the blind leading the blind. I guess that's why the story goes. I'm not sure what the lies are. Maybe he's talking about the man, politicians. Who's the blind leading the blind?
I think that it's trying to solve these problems. No one really knows how to, essentially.
Sure, that's the overarching theme. I just don't understand the words he used to express it.
This is bad songwriting. They're just throwing in cliches and, hope that no one really reads the genius lyrics.
Okay, so folks, there's the new metal worst version of what it's like.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have the chorus/outro. And in my memory, this was sung exclusively by a children's choir, but it's mostly not that.
Right. And I would have said the exact same thing. A real Bernstein Bears all over again. I thought for sure this was accompanied by creepy children.
Yeah. I mean, it is, but not always.
But not exclusively.
Right, yes. Yeah. And of
There's
course,
men in those children.
Right.
Wait.
Yes.
Amongst.
Yes. But yeah, of course, we're talking about the We Are, the youth of the nation, etc. I will give this song one sort of compliment. It does kind of achieve the anthemic sound that I think they're going for on a lot of this record. I think this is the one that hits the closest to that because they have like the really big drums and like the chanting over it. This is the only song on here that they really actually managed to hit that anthemic sound.
I agree. I think this is the song that I can say, one of the only songs on this whole album, I can say, this is not for me, but I understand why it did well.
Track number 5, Celestial.
fucking excited / insulted I was that it was an instrumental.
I love that these guys think, look, we've got big ideas that need to be expressed, but also we're really great musicians and we want to showcase both.
Right. Clarence, did we record that jam sesh? Yeah, guys, we got it. Fellas, I don't think we even need lyrics for that. People just need to hear it. Okay. I mean, if we keep including these, our album's going to be like 14 or 15 tracks. Isn't that way too long? No, man. People are going to want to hear the most P.O.D. they can get.
Speaking of, track number 6, Satellite. Satellite. Yeah, it's hard not to hear it.
Yeah, you spend a week with Dave Matthews and his band, and that's all you're going to ever think of every time that word is used, which is why I'll never watch the movie Contact again. That and I don't like it.
Yes.
It's a space movie where all they do is talk.
Yeah. Does P.O.D. believe that heaven exists on a satellite, or possibly it follows
the moon,
natural satellite like a comet or something?
To the best of my knowledge, Tim, either this song is about the moon or heaven existing on the back of the moon.
Okay. I was picturing some sort of Lion King scene.
Ooh, Aslan, Mr. Tumnus, the whole gang?
You sure?
What? I feel like you've stepped into some deep water and you're not necessarily ready to go swimming. What do you want to talk about here? I am into it. Wardrobes?
No, super uncomfortable.
There's whole sides of me you don't even know, Tim.
Oh, I know.
Let's get into this.
Garrett.
Explain to me how this is like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
I didn't say The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I said The Lion King. That's why you've embarrassed yourself.
I heard what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, no, I know you're super into C.S. Lewis. We're all super into C.S. Lewis. He has some great arguments. The mailman example, I think, was pretty great. Anyway, the point is...
I don't know anything about Lion King.
The dad is in the clouds.
Oh, I do know that because I saw the Bleeding Gums Murphy episode of The Simpsons.
Oh, sure. Yeah. This is CNN. But yeah, so the lyrics, I wonder how clear it must look from there to here. No obstruction, this selfish corruption, all this atmosphere, no fear, less tears. I like that. There's no fear in heaven, Garrett. There's some crying. There is crying. But not as much.
Well, a lot of people don't know, Tim. I don't know if you even know this. I don't even know this, but I've heard that you can die in heaven.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you go to super heaven or a secondary hell.
Now, explain this one to me, Tim. If I go to heaven, I ascend to heaven, got the right shoes on and everything. Not necessarily going to say I accept the teachings of Christ because, again, made up.
Right, but you will wear shoes in the shower now because you're afraid, you coward.
It just seems like a simple step I can take in order to ensure my eternal salvation. Anyway, let's say I get there, it's super boring, and all they talk about is Christ, and I get to sinning. Right. It's all nature walks and yoga. Anyway, and I start to sinning. Do I go to hell or do I go straight to super hell for sinning in heaven?
Well, it's not super hell. It's hell light, actually, because heaven and hell
are... it's heaven's hell.
Yes, exactly.
You got earth's hell, and then you got heaven's hell, which is still pretty nice.
Right, yes, because it's all relative to the place you start out in. Now, there is a super heaven, and there's a super hell, but that is if you go to hell and you sin in hell. Yeah, exactly. You get it. Right.
Wouldn't sinning in hell be not sinning?
No. God and the devil are on the same side, Garrett. They do the same work.
I see.
Yeah, he's not pro-sin.
I see. No, that makes sense. He just got the shit job of dealing with everybody who is.
Yes.
I've heard rumor, and again, we don't know about any of this, so, it's mostly speculation and cryptotheology, I think is what we're talking about. I've heard Flagstaff, Arizona, heaven's hell. But it's still nice.
Good for running.
Oh, great, yeah. Good mountains, good rock climbing.
I follow the sun and ride on to Zion and dance this last song of freedom. But only time will tell if it's truly for real. Can't change your mind. And all I know, this is what I feel. Whether I'm wrong or right, please keep my life in sight and never take your eyes off me. I think he's losing his faith. Or at least questioning it.
Okay.
He wants to believe, right? He's asking God to keep your eyes on me. Because later in the song, there's a lot of, are you there? Are you there? Is this your plan?
Interesting. We agree he's talking to Jesus?
Oh, absolutely.
He could be talking to a dead friend in heaven, Tim. Oh my God. What if, okay. So Tim, let's pretend for a minute. Well, let's not, we don't even need to pretend. So let's talk about when you die, long before me. Sure. And let's say you get to heaven and you find out that there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not doing that I'm going to need to do to get to heaven. Would would you help me by haunting me as a ghost or angel, I guess, technically, if we're talking about heaven. But would you haunt me and help me like get on the path?
I'd try to do that now.
Yeah, but right now is bullshit. If you come back as a ghost, I'm definitely believing you.
Oh, really? All right. I'm going to kill myself and come back
please,
as a
Tim,
ghost.
no, never. That's never the solution. We've been over this.
No, this is for your soul, though.
Never the solution. Never. Don't worry, Tim. You're still going to die years before me. There's plenty of time for you to, correct my path from beyond the grave. So that's nice of you, friend. I kind of thought you might damn me to hell.
Oh, no, Garrett. I want to do this in heaven, too.
Yeah,
it will
so we'd
be
hang
like
out.
your hell. I'll ensure that.
Start sinning so I can get to Flagstaff.
Oh, that could be their city slogan.
We're heaven's hell.
Yeah, or start sinning to get to Flagstaff. But I like that we're heaven's hell.
Yeah, it's catchier than you first would think.
Yeah, really grows on you.
Let's see. The song continues. As I look up to the sky today, well, I can see you looking down on me. It brings a smile to my face again, satellite. Chorus provides a little clarity around what might be going on here. Maybe someone got raptured in that earlier song and he's trapped here on Earth and he needs that guide to help him get to Zion. Because we can't rule out the fact, Tim, that you just glided over that he follows the sun and rides on to Zion. But I'm not sure who the satellite or what the satellite is. Is Jesus the satellite? I did a Control F on the Bible, didn't find satellite.
Oh, sure. This is what made me think of the Lion King thing, the looking up at the sky and seeing someone's face smiling down on them. Now, satellite is, of course, not mentioned in the Bible. You have to go again to the original Greek for object fired into space. And I can't remember offhand what that word is, but it's in there.
Interesting.
Inerrant word of God, Garrett.
Okay. It's truly one of a kind, like starshine. Beyond nighttime, are you there? My eyes stare to find just what's behind. Is he talking about the moon? He seems to wonder where something goes when it's not nighttime. He says it shines like the stars, and he wants to know what's behind it. Can't see behind the moon.
That's true.
I mean, you know how the moon works.
I do. You can never see the other side.
Exactly.
Maybe there's some sort of heaven base, like a moon base that is heaven on the other side of that.
That's what I'm saying. Heaven's on the back of the moon.
Huh.
That's how it's so easy to get to Flagstaff.
All right.
I don't know where super heaven is. Jupiter? That's a gas planet, right? I don't know.
I don't really know about stars. Planets. That's a planet.
The song continues. The question at hand, help me understand. Is this your plan? I think I can. Can I think? Then I think I can, because I won't break and I won't shake. When lifted hands to this man, I'll stand in faith. Tim, he cannot be shaken. His faith in Jesus, or possibly his friend helping him to get to the other side. No matter what happens, he's going to persevere, I guess, and make his way to heaven.
Given that it is, of course, a physical place, if you can't get there via shoe and Jesus combination, there's a chance you can fight your way in.
Oh, I asked you this before and you said no.
I said there's a chance. I don't think you can. I don't remember this conversation. If your theory is correct and it is on the back of the moon, presumably you could get in there without shoes.
If it's a physical location, then you can conquer it.
Yeah.
Track number 7, Ridiculous, featuring someone named Eek a Mouse.
I think we can both agree, Garrett. We're done with what's going to be popular on this album.
Oh, yeah. No one's going to know anything we're about to talk
Yes.
about.
They really probably would have had a better album here if everything we have discussed to this point, if that had been an EP. I came real close to going insane when I realized we were going to be doing a ton of P.O.D. Christian reggae from these idiots on the second half. I came so close to vetoing this.
Wow.
This song has an almost sublime feel to it at points, and that is nigh intolerable.
I have in all caps here, finally the sublime and 311 infusion this album's been needing. It is ridiculous. We open with Eek a Mouse hitting us with a many more. Many more. He come outside, P.O.D, many more. Guys, this is just the worst. Tim, the addition of Eek a Mouse, good, bad? What are your thoughts?
I think neutral.
I think worse, because they happen at the same time and they do not sound good together.
Sure.
Song goes on, skillfully tested, rhythmically possessed with rhymes, and when it is time, Jah gave me the mic after he blessed it. He said, share the loving, prepare them for the second coming. Okay, we are now calling God Jah, the Rasta God, as I understand it. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I think so.
He's been rhythmically possessed with rhymes. He's been given a blessed mic from Jah cross. So God handed him a mic and said, share the loving and prepare for, as we've been predicting, Tim, the second coming. This truly is, I don't know what to call this, revelation rock?
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Basically, this is the exact same thing you get from most of the rapists from the nu metal era to at least the SoundCloud thing now. It's a lot of bragging about your skills, how you're going to beat the haters. This has the added little twist of being like, because I am God's messenger and you will all...
He's the vessel.
Right. You will all one day become ash before me.
That's important, Tim. I'm glad you pointed that out. It is not a positive message. He sings of love, but he talks of destruction.
Yeah. Their music, it all does seem designed to prepare us for the second coming of Christ, which is a concept as ridiculous as nu metal. And when I say it's,
but one of them happened.
What I'm saying is their music being the thing that will prepare us for the second coming of Christ is a concept that is as ridiculous as nu metal being so great that it wakes vampires that have been sleeping for centuries. See our now classic Queen of the Damned episode. But they frame it as if anyone that would speak ill of them and their mission from God is, and this is a quote, wicked. And that checks out for Gary, but not for me.
Wait, I'm sorry. What have I agreed to?
You're wicked. Test me crew, but they can't get with this. Them all the same, talking wickedness. Your style's been played and I'm already sick of it. Them so ridiculous, them so ridiculous. So it's the same thing you get with any of these rapists. It's just they believe that God's on their side.
Oh yeah, so we're still gonna overcome the haters, show everybody our sweet skills, but with lines like, beware of false prophets, because they got my people bugging. Put on the full armor. You know these fools are gonna want to talk behind your back. There's talks of prophets and armor, but also, haters and ill moves.
Yeah, it's real stupid.
Now, I also want to point out, Tim, that you and I only recognize one ridiculous on this planet, and that is, of course, Norm Macdonald's incredibly unsuccessful comedy album, Ridiculous. Please go listen. That is required homework for this show.
At least listen to Tex Hooper. Also, I apologize for the offense that like 30% of you will take from it, but it is very funny.
Most people don't like it. Yeah. Most people really don't like it. They get upset when we play it. They ask to leave. My brother's exact quote, "Why did you play that?"
Yeah.
Anyway, I would now like to discuss the fact that we are merging Christianity and Rastafari tradition here, and I'm confused.
Yeah, I agree.
Both stylistically
completely.
And theologically.
True, but I didn't do that much research into the Rastafari. I mean, because I know that is sort of an offshoot from Christianity. You've got the Haile Selassie and the marijuana, rude boys, apparently. I don't really understand what it's about.
Sure. The last bit is, with every word you poison my mental concept. Negative be the topic. Somebody's got to stop it and clear your mind and continue to come alive, because he love, we love, bring it back, come rewind. And then the chorus, obviously, 3 more times.
Obviously.
But this is some sort of weird amalgamation of what we've seen in the rap game for the last, 30 years, mixed with hardcore Rastafarian and Christian history.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're going to continue that. Can we move on to the next song? Because the next song is exactly that as well.
Let's do it.
Track number 8, The Messenger.
He's the messenger of God.
No, I think they're the messenger for God.
I love it when you say the exact same thing back at me in a tone that makes me think you disagree. What are you talking about?
I thought you said, is the messenger God?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Of God.
Oh, I missed a
Our
word.
intonations are different. Hilarious. Tim, this is a radicalized terrorist group.
It's the most doomsday culty version of Christianity. There's diagnosable delusions of grandeur. There's maybe DMT involved here.
I think it's just hallucinations, because I am not entirely convinced that this guy or this band is relying solely on their belief in God. There may be some mental illness, hallucinations, belief that Jesus is talking to one or all of them. We'll see.
Oh, sure. I agree completely.
But on this song, The Messenger, it's quite literally in the title. Messenger, but with the word God in it. The Rastafarian God. Because this is P.O.D. and nothing makes sense anymore.
Yeah. And again, I didn't do that much research into it. I don't know their connection to any Rastafarian tradition. They're Hispanic guys from San Diego, I think. Again, didn't do that much research.
Maybe they did like some sort of Caribbean boat tour like that guy did from, what was that? Was that 311?
Oh yeah, no, Bradley from Sublime did a sailing trip with his dad to the Caribbean or something.
Yeah, where he picked up that handy accent. Doesn't insult anybody.
Yes. iMessage, written in rhyme, prophetic, teachers amongst the skeptics and guided the misdirected, infected with their lies in their alibis, with their third eye blind, out of line, they try to prophecy. He's calling out teachers, right? He's calling people fake news. Your teachers, everyone that doesn't have a story that is similar to mine, the messenger, is nonsense. I'm the only one you
I really
can
got
trust.
stuck on this. Yeah, sorry. I really got stuck on this because I think that they believe they're bringing the word of God to the masses, and I think that they may also believe that other people are attempting to bring the word of God to the masses, but they're not. They're just bands. They're just people playing music.
Right, exactly. This is a band that has misunderstood what bands are. This I pledge and I'm taking to my death. I'll lay down my life for you and die over again. I'm not ashamed of the Most High, even if I die tonight, This I pledge and I'm taking to my death. You can bet your life on my words and everything I said. You can't take away my love for this sacrifice, even if I die tonight. Terrifying.
Last I checked, those are the words of somebody who is a religious
zealot?
I guess so.
Extremist?
I was trying to find a nicer word than extremist. Is it zealot? Is that the playful version? I don't know. In any event, let's have a visit to their house because he is repeatedly saying that he will die either. Okay, Tim, you tell me which one's sadder. This man is willing to die for the message of God in order to bring it to the masses. However, he plans to do that would involve his death. Or he's willing to die if it costs him his life. He will bring the world his message, or in this case, his terrible music. He will die to be a hit new metal band.
You gotta be really disappointed when you do God's work and then it ends up you're just in a new metal band. You're corning.
Well, I'm hesitant to say this out loud because oftentimes I say preposterous things and then they happen seemingly verbatim how I state them. But let's suppose for a moment I'm God and I want to signal to my followers that something amazing is about to happen, while frightening, the second coming, which is hard to imagine. So maybe I need to create a scenario where something so preposterous, so ridiculous, such a odd combination of things jumbled together, like a reverse centaur. This time, of course, hip-hop, R&B, and rock music. Show people that this horrible abomination of my creation can become not just a thing in existence, which alone is perplexing, but become so popular that people make hit albums that sell millions of copies. Once that's happened, Tim, the world is ready for anything. So 4 horsemen riding through the air bringing about swords of flame, not that weird. Remember when nu metal was popular?
That, you know what, maybe.
I'm just saying, if I wanted to leverage a band to usher in the impossible and signal to my followers that end times are near, make P.O.D. a hit band.
Yeah.
We're all going to feel really silly when Jesus comes down. And as we all know, Jesus has a very thick German accent. Guys, I made P.O.D. super popular. Did not everybody turn around and go, this is not good. We've definitely done something wrong. Track number 9, Guitarras de Amor.
Why 2?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Hey, Carl, were you recording on that jam sesh? Nice, guys. They're going to want to hear it. It's fucking sweet. I mean, I guess I could write down some lyrics about love and Christ. No need. People are going to pick up on it when they hear these jams. Compliment time, Tim. Remember earlier I said that was one of the songs I understood why it was popular? I can at least say this song is well played.
Sure, but it wasn't popular.
Well, no. Of course not. Now, is it super weird to stomp down in the middle of your 15-track nu metal Christian reggae Rastafarian album for a Spanish guitar solo? a little. It's a little weird. But hey, it's P.O.D. No one's made it this far into the album ever, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's
true. We are in uncharted territory. We need a Sherpa. We need a P.O.D. expert. We need a young priest and an old priest.
Track number 10, Anything Right, featuring Christian Lindskog.
Tim, did you know who Christian Lindskog was?
I don't know now.
Nobody does. I did some digging, and to this day, this remains his largest achievement.
This song, it's kind of like a pop-punk themed song. It's the Blink-182, I'm a confused teen, no one understands me, loser type thing, but also about God and Rastafari and Jah and whatnot.
Don't leave out that cello, Tim. There's a cello being played.
Absolutely.
He's almost singing in here, and this is where you realize, oh, now I see why you rap poorly. Because you sing very poorly.
Yes.
Would you agree then that if this is sort of a Blink-182 situation or possibly an all balls, no brains, what was that fucking album?
Simple Plan?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So if it's like Simple Plan, these are our balls. This seems to be like a you don't understand me, Dad kind of a song, right?
Right, but Dad is Jah.
Oh, okay. Because I got the sense that he was rebelling against whoever Dad was.
Well, he is. This is the song where he's a little less confident in the whole theme.
Okay, I thought it was a rebelling against your parents, but knowing he was super religious, what's that look like for your parents? Are they just normal? How weird would that be if your kid was just super religious, but you were raised in a virtually agnostic family?
This is Family Ties, but the religious instead of
Family
political.
Ties. No, Family Ties was so good. Oh, God, I want to start a Family Ties podcast.
No, stop starting podcasts.
I won't.
We record so many episodes that no one ever hears because we don't have time to actually produce and release them.
I know, but someday, Tim, it's going to be like Prince's Vault. We're both going to just horribly die of a drug addiction, and then they're going to find hours of...
Hey, what? I'm going to guide you into the afterlife.
Right. I guess, yeah, I always forget that you're probably likely, at least statistically, to die years before me, based on my statistics. Anyway, let's get into this song. So much to say, so little time for me to explain the way I feel. You only see things the way you want to see them. You want to see them. It makes sense to you, all the things you do, but you got it all figured out. Tim, of course, this sounds like everything you do is perfect, Dad. I can't do it nearly as good as you.
But Dad is Jah.
Well, of course, you can't be as good as Jah. Tim,
in conversation.
You've been looking for a hip nickname.
Ooh.
Would you like your new nickname to be Jah?
How about Admiral Jah?
Admiral God. God wasn't good enough for you. You were going to be God of the Rastafarian people.
Yeah.
And you want to be Admiral God. Honestly, I think it diminishes the title, if I'm being completely honest. Does it sound better? Of course, Admiral Jah. I guess we could say you're the commander on a spaceship. How's that sound?
Sure, yes.
I'm never going to call you Admiral Jah.
You will.
All right, Admiral, the song continues. In your mind, I'm just blind. You're right all the time. If I think for myself, I guess I'm way out of line.
No matter what I do, it's never good enough. I give all that is me, still it's never good enough. So why try? I give up. What does it feel like to be in your shoes and walk over everyone like you do? Tear me down again. I want you to. I want you to.
He's quoting the very little known secret scripture. The last hour or two that Christ was on the cross, he got real bitchy.
Yeah, it's emo Christ.
Yeah, I mean, you just read it, Tim. No matter what I do, it's never good enough for you people. I give all that is me, still it's never enough. So why do I try? I give up.
Yeah,
I'll be back in 3 days.
You happy now?
Track number 11, Ghetto.
I believe that two people wrote two short songs that had nothing to do with each other, and then they jammed them together. I Want You, She's So Heavy, or A Day in the Lifestyle.
Interesting. Okay. I picked up on at least one of those themes. I'll be curious to see what the other is. Can we agree that it opens like maybe the lamest Alice in Chains cover band known to man?
Sure.
Terrible harmony. The song opens, I believe that the world believes in love. I believe that this world believes in love. Love. Great.
Right.
This is a song about love.
Yep. And this is song number 1. It goes on, we may never really agree on anything about the lives we live. Between you and me, so differently, we don't always see things the same. We should agree to disagree. If we meet and love, we can work it out. I believe you and I will overcome. And then song number 2 is screaming the world is a ghetto a bunch of times. That doesn't go together.
Oh, God, you're right. Yeah, the whole second half of this song is about screaming that the world is a ghetto and don't give in to the hate within.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so let's go back for just a moment. If we meet and love, we can work it out. I think this guy is talking about resolving his differences with others by meeting in person and banging it out, which I'm on board for.
You sure are.
So yeah, Tim, you're right. There's no connective tissue here. Either the world believes in love or it is a ghetto.
Yep. Track number 12, Masterpiece Conspiracy.
Back to rap.
And also back to the weird insistence that they're fighting some sort of spiritual war and they're soldiers against demons, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, again, it is, and I don't want to start any sort of spurious rumors, but it is weird to have such a religious extremist themed album to come out on 9/11.
True. A lot of this kind of feels like it was written, like they got the script for like a 2000 to 2005 era Keanu Reeves movie, like Constantine. Does it fit that? I've never seen Constantine. Just, we want a bunch of songs that are about spiritual warfare in the midst of normal human life.
Tim, one of these songs might be in Constantine.
Possibly. You know what? Almost certainly. If not one of these songs, then definitely a P.O.D. song.
It wouldn't shock me. The movie's not great. Yeah, oddly, it does kind of sort of fit here. This song takes an odd turn for the whole album. The conspiracy at hand is a little tough to pin down. Let's get right into it. Evil eyes, behind their smiles, you swallow it up when sincerity lies. And lock me up, label dangerous files for the unknown, so you're scared of my style. Now, that could just be, again, about all the haters and how they need to keep him locked up because his style is so sweet. Could also be, Tim, by my reading, those traditional religious leaders, maybe they're not Christian enough. Maybe they're not giving it up to the almighty Jah. And when he goes spouting about his new beliefs to literally give his life in order to spread the word of Jah, they're just not on board. As far as I know, your local pastor is not into killing himself for the word of God.
Very rarely.
Do they admit in this song that everybody hates them and they know that?
I think so.
So in the song, they say, alert the press and address the states of emergency with a crew you love to hate. So I think they know we all hate them or will soon hate them, but they don't care as long as you follow Christ or Jah.
You can hate them all you want as long as you will be their infantry.
Well, exactly, because they go straight into uprise, now fall in line, roll with the pack or get left behind. Lead follower, get out of the way, Tim.
Sure.
No fear.
Liar, backstabber, betrayer, deceiver, liar, liar, backstabber, betrayer, deceiver, liar, backstabber, you're such a backstabber, backstabber, yeah, you're such a backstabber, yeah, backstabber, you're such a backstabber, yeah, backstabber, you're such a backstabber, backstabber, yeah, you're such a backstabber. The way he says liar, backstabber, and betrayer is very dirsty.
It's dirsty, but then when you get to the backstabber, yeah, you're such a backstabber, very Rage Against the Machine.
Sure.
Get a real nice chant going there. What's the one that he always does?
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
Yes. Yeah, you get a real fuck you, I won't do what you tell me, but instead it's a backstabber. Yeah, you're such a backstabber. Do you know who the backstabber is?
I think it's anyone that is not
joining his ranks.
Yeah.
We get a lyric, something along the lines of, where were you when we started this thing? You wasn't around. This ain't yours to claim. You'll never take what's been given to us. Wipe that smile off your face and a look of disgust. Tim, I think this band is attempting to start the apocalypse. And now the old priests and such, the leaders of Christianity, maybe the leaders of Rastafarian religion, I don't know. They want in on it. They want a little taste, wet that beak. But they started this movement, Tim. They are their army, and they'll conquer them because they weren't willing to die for Jah.
That all adds up.
Track 13, Without Jah, Nothing, featuring HR. This is borderline hardcore.
Yep, and I like that turn. I think HR is certainly too good for this, and I was also dismayed at the second reggae turn later in the song.
Yeah, well, don't jump too far ahead, because this thing does open with some pretty hardcore sounds, Tim, and, you know, we never really talk about it on the show. New metal, often, obviously, people point to metal and hip-hop/rap being combined, but let's not forget for a moment that hardcore plays a really really big role in the evolution of this horrid little monster being born. That genre is 85% screaming.
Yes.
The delivery of the verse, I'm going to read just a little because it's so repetitive, it's nauseating. But they say, without Jah, what you say is nothing. Without Jah, you want to say something. Without Jah, nothing to nothing. And it goes on and on about this with Jah and love and Jah and nothing and something and something and nothing. But it's not delivered by just one person, and it's not delivered at the same time, and it's not delivered at the same speed or style. One man is screaming what I just read to you, and the other man is nasally singing over it at a different rate, so they don't finish or start at the same time.
Yeah, it's got a real Lou Reed, James Hetfield type of dynamic.
Asked honey. I had to focus on it and listen to one first, and then I listened to the other, and I was like, oh, they're saying the same thing, but for some odd reason, not the same time or way.
Yep, and mostly just don't give a shit about this song.
Ooh, you know what, Tim? We are 13 tracks in. Let's just say this ends with them screaming, Jesus Christ loves you, finally the most on-the-nose outro for the whole album, and say track 14, Thinking About Forever.
And God knows I tried to carry on with life, decide not to hide.
When I read what it was about and then I listened to it, I was like, yep, that's what this is about, and I'm good.
Sure. That's fair. This is a song written by the main vocalist Sonny to his mom that died of leukemia in 1992. It's sad. This isn't a good song, though.
Yeah, it just talks about how he wishes he could share his life with his dead mother. Now, the last line of this song, the only thing that I did write down of import to me, he says, I know you're so much better. We made it through. I'm tripping on whatever, hearing you. Does he hear the ghost voice of his mother?
Perhaps she is the character from Satellite that is talking to him from the sky.
Guiding him to heaven. Heaven Prime, not Hell's Heaven.
She's his Tim.
Okay, I like it. Track 15, the final track, Portrait.
We get more Jesus Warrior bullshit on this one as well. This one felt a bit like a Slipknot song to me.
It's way shoutier, which is much more Slipknot territory.
Sure. And there's actually a song, it's called Sick, from the album we did, where they shout about enemies and how they can stand up to said enemies, and it's pretty spot on, actually.
Yeah, but again, Tim, as we pointed out at the beginning of the episode, this one, far more Christy.
Oh, yeah. You're not who they say you are. They made you the enemy. Christ in Jah flesh. Christ, the light within. Christ, the beginning and the end. Christ, they have taken something so beautiful, painted a new picture that makes me sick. Christ, witness. Christ, loving one. Christ, first and last. Feed our minds, confusion. Sweeten the taste of pollution. Christ, word life. Christ, resurrect. Christ, everlasting. Jah.
Jesus Christ. Now, I don't want to scare the dogs, but all those Christ readings are much more Christ.
Yeah.
So it's a real fun song. Tim, I think this is becoming. I think this guy is attempting to become the living God, the second coming himself. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if this band believes that one or all of them are going to transform into besorted-mouthed Jesus.
Perhaps it's a Power Rangers thing where they all have to come together to form Jesus.
Form of Christ. Christ. Some people call you Father. Maybe you could set me free. These people hate each other, but you've always been there for me. I surrender, giving up all that is me, yielding to you. Christ! Witness. Christ! Living one. Christ! First and last. Shape me in my brokenness. Empower me forever. Christ! Word life. Christ! Resurrect. Christ! Everlasting Jah. Tim, this sounds like some sort of spell. I think he's transforming into Christ. Or as you put it, possibly some sort of Captain Planet form of Christ.
Yes.
Christ! I like doing that. I'm going to wake you like that from now on.
Yeah, that's fair.
I know you will complete this work started in me. Tim, I think he is going to die, and in his place, Christ is going to take over his body and begin the second coming.
I think he's talking to his followers, the listeners, and he's saying, I may die for this cause, but I know I've instilled in you, I've told you what to do once I am dead. If I die, bring about Armageddon.
Assemble my bones into a crude trebuchet and use it to conquer the planet.
Yes.
Boy, Tim, what if he truly transformed into Christ, like a were Christ? Like he like skin ripped off and then like a son of God emerged from beneath?
Oh, I love that.
Sci-Fi Network, give us a call. We will give you a 30-page treatment on
So
the were
like,
Christ.
if Christ bit you.
Right.
Maybe
on a
that's
full
what
moon.
priests are.
Nope. No, they're monsters. They're true monsters.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Tim, how did this thing do?
Really well, Garrett. This was
Yeah.
certified triple platinum in the US. It has sold over 7 million copies worldwide. It was the 117th best-selling album of 2001, but the 26th best-selling album of 2002. It was the 137th best-selling album from 2000 to 2009. This hit number 6 on the Billboard 200, number 1 on the Billboard Christian Albums chart, number 13 on the Belgian Ultra Top Flanders chart, number 10 on the Danish Hitlisten, number 10 on the Finnish Suomen Virallisten Lista, number 11 on the Swiss Schweizer Hit Parade, number 8 on the Swedish Sverigetoplisten, and number 27 in the Dutch.
God damn it. The only justice in this world is if that entire band dies in the shower. And none of them make it to heaven because they don't have the right shoes. Folks, if you're confused, go back to our poorly recorded Christmas shoes episode.
Yes, it's poorly recorded, but it's one of our better ones.
What do people think of it, Tim?
Well, there are 331 reviews on Amazon, 4.6 out of 5 stars on average, 77% 5-star, 4% 1-star. Amazon customer said, hard-hitting, this is from 2002. P.O.D. shows everyone that Christian music can rock. They've been doing their thing now for over 5 years and continue to be diverse in their musical style. Their music hits hard and leaves you wanting more. Everything on this album is impressive, and every time I listen to it, I like it more. This band gets better every day and every album. I look forward to more incredible music from P.O.D. They're the best hardcore/rap/metal band on the planet. My favorite song on the album is Alive. This is about the only time I've heard a band refer to what it feels like to be a new Christian and what that feeling will lead you to do. It is a great song that gives me goosebumps every time I listen to it. 5 out of 5 stars.
What will it lead you to do?
I don't know.
Christians, right in. New Christians, I guess. Newly Christian. What is that? What does that mean, Tim?
I don't know.
Just like, okay.
Think about this, Garrett. People convert to Catholicism.
Yeah, that is mind-boggling. I would just love to meet somebody who, like, in their late 20s was just like, yeah, no, I'm Christian now. I don't know if I told you.
What? Bob Dylan.
Yeah, oh, God, and we all saw what that did to him.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Another Amazon customer. This is from 2008. It's called Christian Music Without All the Crap. This is a great album if you're looking to slowly teach children about God. Good modern music that will carry the message in it to the youth of the nation. Great songs like Satellite and Boom will keep you listening to this one for a long time. You may be asking yourself, what if I'm not a Christian? This is still great music. The lyrics are nice and often have nothing to do with God. They are more about life and events that happen in it. Youth of the Nation is about a school shooting. Even a non-Christian will find themselves singing along with that song. 4 out of 5 stars.
I love the idea that non-Christians would just be like, oh, I don't get it.
Well, I love the idea that, like, you're just like, well, I'm not Christian. Will I get into this? Oh, yeah, there's a song about school shooting. Everyone will be singing together. That's what brings us together.
Oh, Tim, you'll love this album. It's got at least 2 school shooting songs on it. Oh, thanks.
This next one is by Hentai Tim, one of our least good Tims from 2004. I was left speechless by the greatness contained in the little compact disc I bought. It's just so powerful. Good music with a good message is hard to find nowadays, and this is the antidote for all the crap. These guys are just as good as other rap rock bands like Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, and Linkin Park, if not better. These guys know what they're doing, and they're doing it well. This is the most awesome CD ever, so go buy it before I go to your house and burn it down. 5 out of 5 stars.
Man, I didn't see that coming.
Metal Man has entitled his review one of P.O.D.'s best from 2004. 2004. When P.O.D. released this on 9/11, of course our nation was shocked about what had happened with the towers and all, and was looking for something to hold on to. The single alive kept our nation alive, so to speak. When our nation needed a jump start, Boom was released, and it just put a shock back into our system. Then we got mellowed out with Youth of a Nation, and when our nation wanted hope of our lost ones, Satellite was the song that reminded us that our loved ones were looking down upon us. Then when their tour rocked us start to finish, we praised them saying, "This is an awesome CD." Well, folks, this CD is more than awesome. It's excellent, brilliant, and astonishing. If you want to hear an awesome effort put into a CD, then please don't waste your time. Get this CD. It was well worth your money. Get it today. 5 out of 5 stars. Now, this is an interesting theory, actually, because this is a person that posits that P.O.D. knew about 9/11, possibly even caused 9/11, so that their album, and again, I'm not saying this, Metal Man is saying this, so that their album could be there. Each one of these songs is specifically crafted for a different stage in the grieving process to really bring us together as a nation. And so we had to go through that tragedy so that P.O.D. could heal the wound and make everything stronger, like a scar, Garrett.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, I know all about scars.
Yeah, you do. Got a lot of them.
Yes. I took it a slightly different way. I thought maybe that pretty close that P.O.D. did in fact know that 9/11 was coming and maybe caused it. We're not saying that. Again, this gentleman on the internet did. But the only way that they could help, they sat down for weeks, months, planning. What do we do? How do we make the greatest impact? How do we stop this? And concluded, while they could not stop it, they could help America heal from it.
Well, one way or another, they definitely helped us heal.
Yeah. Now, it's weird. I don't remember it that way. I remember constantly turning this off.
Well,
but,
perhaps you were not as affected by 9/11 as you should have been. You just
probably
didn't care.
True. Well, no, that's not what I said.
You actively celebrated. The next review is by Melissa. It's called P.O.D. releases another album with their lies. This is from 2003. Anyone that believes that P.O.D. are genuine Christians have been deceived. P.O.D. is a band of Rastafarians singing their Rasta beliefs. They show their true heart with their symbol that is on every album, the triquetra, which they coin as a Trinity symbol. Yes, it is a Trinity symbol for pagan goddesses. Test everything. 1 Thessalonians 5:21. Remember, Jesus warned us many would come in his name. Matthew 24:5. Don't continue to believe the lie. Read your Bibles and don't take P.O.D.'s word for it. P.S. Also, I'm not ignorant about P.O.D.'s music or the guys themselves. I willfully called myself a warrior for many years. Met the guys on many occasions. God woke me up. 1 out of 5 stars.
Sounds like somebody had an unfortunate incident on a tour bus.
Yep.
God woke me up. What a crazy person. This is all nonsense, Tim. We may have to delete this episode.
No. Oh my God. No.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's this for?
This is for Jaw Warriors, definitely.
Jaw Warriors.
It is for people trying to get through and or get over 9/11. So not you, because you didn't need to, didn't care, / actively celebrated.
Nope, didn't. No. Slanderous.
This is for people that want the Limp Bizkit, they want the J-Devil, but they just don't want to hear that fucking F word, or maybe their mom won't let them hear it. And so you get this. This is the non-union Christian equivalent.
Oh, right. There's no swearing in this.
Yeah, because it's for Jesus and Rasta and Jah.
But also about revolution, forming an army, and taking over for the apocalypse.
Yes.
Good Christian fun.
Yep.
Okay, I agree. Yeah, I think it's for middle American teens who
all of them.
Every one of them has got it in the mail like samples of Tide. That brings us to final thoughts. What have we not said about this pile of garbage?
This is what happens when you take prayer out of schools.
You have to stop saying that, especially this week.
Oh, this is what happens when you don't take prayer out of schools fast enough.
Nailed it. All right, Tim, then let's do the damn thing. We've been all the way through it, maybe more so than it deserved, but let's ask the question. Do you hate this album?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What about you, Gary?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Fuck this. I really thought this was going to be more fun. I'm going to be real honest. Might be time to put down the new metal for a little bit.
I wouldn't go that far. I would say if we had done Youth of a Nation as a prepisode, this would have been a lot of fun. One P.O.D. song is all you need.
Yeah. The fact that there's 15 tracks on here once again reinforces the idea that maybe just maybe, we ought to be cutting it off at 11. You can do an album with 15, but we're not going to talk past 11.
That's fair. And
Right.
this we shouldn't have talked past 6.
Yeah, for everybody's sake. Anyway, as always, folks, you can go to hatepod.com to get a copy of every episode in every format you could possibly want. Sometimes they go up a couple days after on the website, but we do get them up there, so do check in. You can also click and contact us in the upper left-hand corner, and there you'll find a form to email us. It does ask for an email. That's just so we can reply. If you want to, you can put something crazy in there. We don't care. Just reach out to us. We want to hear from you. What do you like? What do you not like? Weird theories. What relationship do you have to P.O.D? Did you find Christ in your 30s? We want to hear about it. Send us your art, your songs, your ideas, your suggestions, your prepisode suggestions, everything. You can reach out to us by going to facebook.com/hatepod. You can also email us directly at hatePodMail@gmail.com. We're on Instagram at hatepod. We're on Twitter at albumhatepod. We have subreddits. We have Discord servers. Tim, did I leave anything out?
Nope.
For Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been the other, Tim Richardson, and on October 8th, 2017, Garrett Harvey said, "What do you call an inverse erection?" Oh, an insurrection.
Please stop quoting me out of context.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. Well, I joined the Navy. I got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. I try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. Well, it's a lobster murder sex thing, the bleaching of her hair, full of salt on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides, the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now the week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast.